Show 7, anytime. The light's on, right?
No, there we go. Okay. All right. Can you call the meeting of the Schaumburg Village Board to order for Tuesday, June 25th, 2019? First item on the agenda is a roll call. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Bishke.
Present.
Trustee Madej.
Present.
Trustee Dunham.
Present.
Trustee Sullivan.
Present.
Trustee Conley.
Present.
Trustee Kozak. President Daly.
Present. All present and accounted for. Next item is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'd like to ask Trustee Madej to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Audience, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is the approval of minutes. Actually, before we do that, let me just remind the audience to please silence your cell phones. Don't need any noisemakers while we're conducting business here. Thank you. Next item is the approval of minutes for June 11th, 2019. Any questions, comments?
Move to approve. Second.
So a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item is approval of expenditures. You have a list of expenditures totaling $3,917,440.86.
As presented. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the expenditures as presented. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Kozak.
6 ayes, no nays. Next, we have presentations. We have a number of presentations for the evening. The first one is a presentation of a retirement plaque. Don't we all wish? Where is Cindy?
Over there.
Are you here? Yes, you are. Cindy McEwen, Fire Department, Nursing and Senior Services Supervisor. So we have, which one is which? This one? Oh, okay. So, yeah, keep that off first. Okay. So we have Allison here who's going to take a nice picture. Let me get up here and see. Let's just turn. She probably took 10 pictures.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, the next item we have is a 30-year service award to Brad Herban, Senior Engineering Inspector. This is Brad. Okay. See, and Brad's not leaving, so we're being nicer to him. So we're going to give him this nice plaque, right? There you go, Brad.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you very much.
Sure, and here's a box for it, so, just so you don't let it get damaged. Okay. All right, thank you. Congratulations. Next item is a 20-year service award to Julie Fitzgerald. Is she here? Yes, she is. Julie, 20 years, wow. Director of Community Development, holy cow, can't believe it's 20 years. Wow, all right. Yeah. 20 years of working with him? Yes, I understand, okay.
Thanks. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. All right, next item, we're going to skip down to number 5, which is presentation of a 15-year service award to Patty Pesch, Police Auxiliary Officer. Here we go. Congratulations. Okay, here we go. Perfect. And that goes with it. Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, next item is liquor license request. We have a request from Miss Heidi Pop, is that how you pronounce it? Okay, for one Class F license for June's, you're not June, located at 1227 North Roselle Road, new owner.
Yes,
Okay.
so we are trying to attain a liquor license currently. We're implementing like a wine lounge within this current address, right off of Roselle and Golf Road. So currently, we are trying, hopefully you guys approve us. We're trying to implement a luxury style wine lounge within this location. We're gonna be selling, craft beer, seasonal wines, and then there's pairings, tapas pairings, so light entrees at this location. And we hope that this build-out will have 10 to 6 on-staff permanent positions. We hope to gain 200,000 to 300,000 in estimated sales. And then for the build-out, it would be probably 50 temporary jobs that it would be creating as well.
Okay, and your location again is on, up by Golf in Roselle?
Yeah,
Okay, is it in the shopping center?
it's near, I don't know if you know the area too well.
Yes.
But it's near the 18-8 men's hair salon, so it's
Oh.
over there.
Okay,
So it's right
all
over
right,
there.
sounds good. Okay,
What's in the location? Is there a restaurant in the location now?
No, it's vacant,
Oh,
actually.
it's vacant.
Yes, it's vacant.
Okay, I was confused because our thing shows new owner, but I didn't see any indication that
Yes.
it's really a new owner. It's a new business.
It's a new business,
Okay,
yeah.
Fine.
So
But
it's called
It's a wine
June's.
lounge, it's.
June's Wine Lounge.
Tastings, what kind of food or snacks? are
So
available?
tapas, here, let me look at the menu. It's,
Tapas.
it's gonna vary based on season. So chicken and waffles, macaroni and cheese, so like small entrees. It's kind of like more of a shareables menu. Sharp cheddar spring rolls, so that's kind of a little bit, if you want me to elaborate further, I can.
no, that's
Okay.
fine. Trustee Dunham, you had a
Yeah,
Yeah,
question?
just, do you know what the business was before, before? I'm still trying to place it.
I do not know
You don't
what the
know?
business was prior,
It's in the
no.
it's in the outbuilding, right on the corner where the mattress firm and then the
Oh,
hair salon,
right.
it's in that building.
Oh, there was a 7-Eleven in there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're trying to promote luxury brand, so we're trying to bring in more prestigious persona into this atmosphere.
okay.
Gotta serve caviar.
Not yet, no,
All
unfortunately.
right, further questions? No, then you'll need to complete all the paperwork. I'm sure you're already familiar with it through the mayor's office.
Yeah.
And a liquor license will be issued.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is consent agenda, and the consent agenda will be read in its entirety, voted on as one motion to approve. If you wish to discuss an item further, please indicate that when the item is read by the village clerk, so that it can be removed from the consent agenda, discussed further under committee reports. Otherwise, again, all items will be approved as one motion as on the consent agenda. And will the clerk now read the consent agenda, please?
Okay, number 1, correspondence. The motion would be to approve the request from the Schaumburg Business Association to hold raffle on July 17th, 2019 at Chandler's Chop House, Schaumburg Golf Course, 401 North Roselle Road, and to waive the fidelity bond. B, the motion would be to approve the request from the Schaumburg Firefighters Benevolent Association to hold a raffle on September 14th, 2019 at Olympic Park, 1675 Old Schaumburg Road. C, the motion would be to approve the request from the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation of the United States to fundraise from sunrise to sunset on August 24th, 2019 at the intersections of Roselle Road, Valley Lake Drive, Plum Grove Road, Schaumburg Road, Roselle Road, Wise Road, and Schaumburg Road, Meacham Road. 2, Old Schaumburg Center Sign Committee, Subcommittee. The motion would be to approve a signage approval for 3 wall signs, variation increase gross service area, variation for additional wall sign, and variation for approval lettering styles for Trickster Gallery, 190 South Roselle Road. 3, Finance, Legal, Administrative, and General Government. The motion would be to accept the Finance Department monthly report for April 2019. B, the motion would be to approve the FY 1920 fundraising funding support for Meet Chicago Northwest in the amount of $366,368. C, the recommendation would be to approve payment to Sierra ITS of Park Ridge, Illinois for technical staffing services and approve insurance of a pay-down purchase in order in the amount of $192,500. D, the motion would be to approve payment for professional services for website mitigation to Granicus Incorporated of Denver, Colorado, and approve issuance of purchase order in the amount of $65,100. E, the motion would be to approve a resolution authorizing Class 6B tax incentive for 1420 South Wright Boulevard, LLC. 4, Committee of the Whole. The motion would be to approve an ordinance amending Chapter 98 to clarify that the 30% limit on rental units in residential developments only applies to condominium conversions properties for a period of 5 years. B, the motion would be to recommend the village board does not enact an ordinance limit rental units in residential developments that are not subject to Chapter 98 of the Municipal Code.
Pause a minute, please.
Yes.
Which item?
B,
Recommendation to not enact an ordinance to limit rental units in residential.
Item B.
Item B.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We'll pull that item, please.
okay. And who's pulling it? Ma'am,
Yes.
can I have your name?
Schaumburg,
And the last name again? Brooke?
B-R-O-D-Y.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then 5, Public Safety Committee. The motion would be to approve a resolution authorizing the village manager to change the address of 1370 Bank Drive, Schaumburg, Illinois, to 700 North Meacham Road, Schaumburg, Illinois. B, the motion would be to approve a resolution authorizing the village manager to change the address of 1303 to 1299 Algonquin Road, Schaumburg, Illinois, to the new address of 2000 and 2100 Progress Parkway, Schaumburg, Illinois. C, the motion would be to approve a resolution authorizing a statement of intent to participate in the Cook County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. D, the motion would be to award the contract for false alarm billing services to Superior LLC of Lake Mary, Florida, and approve the required resolution. E, the motion would be to adopt an ordinance amending Title 11, Chapter 122, regarding the regulation of tobacco. 6, Transportation Committee. The motion would be to adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 7, Title 7, Chapter 75, Schedule 3, Parking for Other Specified Periods, Schedule 8, Fire Lanes, Schedule 9, Permitted Parking, Verity Drive. B, the motion would be to adopt an ordinance amending Title 7, Chapter 75, Schedule 1, No Parking Anytime, Schedule 3, No Parking for Other Specified Periods, and Schedule 4, Permitted Parking, Bank Drive, Skywater Drive, and Walter Payton Drive. C, the motion would be to adopt an ordinance amending Title 7, Chapters 74 and 75, various traffic and parking schedules, Bethel Lane, Library Lane, and Pleasant Drive. 7, Planning, Building, and Development Committee. The motion would be to approve an annual entertainment license for Global Brew Tap House located at 339 West Gulf Road for 2019. B, the motion would be to approve a special event request for Splash Pedal Dash Triathlon Duathlon, July 28, 2019, at 220 East Weathersfield Way. C, the motion would be to approve a special event request for the Bike for Hope Ovarian Cancer Motorcycle Fundraiser, July 28, 2019, at 1999 South Springemsguth Road. B, the motion would be to approve a special event request for the for Pitt's Charity 5K Run and 1 Mile Walk Parade, October 19, 2019, at 1999 South Springemsguth Road, subject to the receipt and approval of the certificate of insurance and endorsements by October 1st, 2019. E, the motion would be to approve a special event request for the Freedom and Dignity Festival to be held on August 10th, 2019, from 2 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. at 1999 East Springemsguth Road, subject to the receipt and approval of the certificate of insurance and endorsement by July 1st, 2019. E, the motion would be to approve the proposed revision to Chapter 152 of the Municipal Electric Code to include an amendment to Article 300.18 of the 2014 National Electrical Code regarding infrastructure preparation for dedicated electrical circuit conduit, backbox, and all new single-family home and townhouse construction projects. 8, Project Review Group. The motion would be to approve a site plan amendment for facade modifications for Car Doctor Jr., 525 Estes Avenue. B, the motion would be to approve a site plan amendment for facade modifications, maintenance building for School District 211, Schaumburg High School, 1100 West Schaumburg Road. 9, resolutions. The motion would be to adopt as Resolution R-19-032, approving and authorizing a 6B classification for 1420 South Wright Boulevard, Schaumburg, Illinois. B, the motion would be to adopt as Resolution R-19-033, authorizing change in address of 1370 Bank Drive to Schaumburg, Illinois, to 700 North Meacham Road, Schaumburg, Illinois. C, the motion would be to adopt as Resolution R-19-034, authorizing change in address of 1303 East Gonquin Road, Schaumburg, Illinois, to 2000 Progress Parkway, Schaumburg, Illinois, and 1299 East Algonquin Road, Schaumburg, Illinois, to 2100 Progress Parkway, Schaumburg, Illinois. The motion would be to adopt as resolution number R-19-035, authorizing the village president to execute the statement of intent with the county of Cook regarding hazard mitigation plan. E, the motion would be to adopt as resolution R-19-036, approving and authorizing execution of a contract for false alarm billing services with Superior LLC. 10, ordinances. The motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance 19-050, amending Title 15, Chapter 152, Electrical Code, Section 2, local amendments to the 2014 National Electric Code of the Village of Schaumburg Municipal Code. B, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 19-051, granting a signage approval for 3 wall signs, variation increased gross surface area, variation for additional wall sign, and variation to approve lettering styles for Trickster Gallery, 190 South Roselle Road. C, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance 19-052, granting a site plan amendment for facade modifications, maintenance building for School District 211, Schaumburg High School, 1100 West Schaumburg Road. D, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance 19-053, amending Title 7, Chapter 75, Schedule 3, parking for other specified periods, Schedule 8, fire lanes, and Schedule 9, permitted parkings, Verdi Drive. E, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance 19-054, amending Title 7, Chapter 75, Schedule 1, no parking anytime. Schedule 3, no parking for other specific periods. And Schedule 8, permitted parking Bank Drive, Skywater Drive, and Walter Payton Drive. F, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance 19-055, amending Title 7, Chapter 74 and 75, various traffic and parking schedules, Bethel Lane and Library Lane and Pleasant Drive. G, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance 19-056, granting a site plan amendment for facade modifications for Car Doctor Jr., 525 Estes Avenue. H, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance 057, amending various sections of Title II, Chapter 122, relative to clarifying the definitions related to tobacco products and raising the legal age to purchase or possess tobacco products from 18 to 21.
I'd like to be recorded as voting no on that item.
Okay. And I, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance 19-058, amending Title 9, Chapter 98, Section 5, and Title 9, Chapter 98, Section 18 of the Schaumburg Village Code with regard to condominium.
Why don't we pull that one too, please? Thank you.
And that concludes the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you very much. So
Just a quick question. The last item that you pulled, the ordinance, that actually is not for item 4B, that's for.
I understand.
4A, okay.
I understand.
Okay.
Okay. Look for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, with trustee Conley voting no on ordinance number 19057, item
4B.
4B removed, and item under ordinances, item I.
Right,
removed.
although 4A should be removed as well, because it goes with it.
Understood.
Okay, so we're pulling A2
4A,
and 4.
4B, and then 9I, or 10I.
Move to approve the consent agenda with the listed items pulled.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please pull the board? Thank you.
Trustee Biskey?
Aye.
Trustee Madej?
Aye.
Trustee Dunham?
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan?
Aye.
Trustee Conley?
Aye.
Trustee Kozak?
Could it be recorded that I'm voting no on that one item, because I don't think it's necessary for us to prohibit the possession of smoking items. That's silent now at the state level, and it is not legal for someone under 21 to purchase, but I don't think we need to be enforcing the possession at this time.
Thank you. 6 ayes and no nays on the vote, other than indicated. Committee reports. We do have the one item, or two technically, I guess, that were pulled for discussion, having to do with the limit of residential rental units. There was someone here in the audience I know wants to speak to that, so please come forward. I will tell you, we've spent 9 months on this subject. I don't want to conduct another month on this subject. So please keep your comments brief. Thank you.
Now, did everybody get my letter that I had sent to?
Yes, and
everybody?
why don't you start with your name for the
Joan
record,
Brody.
and then,
I'm with Town Place.
okay, and your name was, again, I'm sorry?
Joan Brody, B-R-O-D-Y.
Right, yep, we got it. At least I've got it.
Okay, you got
So,
my name, you got the
okay.
letter. Yeah, I'm really concerned. You know, I've been living here since actually the early 70s in Schaumburg. I moved away for a short time and moved back, and I've been living in my condo for 22 years. You know, I read the article, I was here at the last two meetings, and I read the article, And my concern is, and I, just, you know, as I wrote in there, just, you know, Schaumburg has a reputation of one of the best places to live in the U.S., and we don't want to be considered a rental community, and that's what I'm afraid is going to happen if we don't place some kind of caps. I understand or think that the 30% is probably too low. I would like the village to work with the associations in the township, in the town, I should say, you know, to work something out. I think I don't want to read my whole letter. Yeah, oops. You know, I listed all these, you know, the reasons, you know, Schaumburg has a good reputation, you know, of caring about the homeowners in, you know, in the village. And, you know, in your general purpose is to promote stability of residential developments, thoughtful planning, you know, and, you know, my neighbors and I, we moved into Schaumburg. We bought our homes not as an investment, but as a place where we wanted to live for a long time and not, and bring up our families. We are concerned that there are too many renters that may violate associations or whatever. I know I attached a crime thing that was online, or on, you know, on the internet. And Schaumburg has a worse record than, we have a 113.8, which it says the higher means it's more crime. Yesterday, there was a break-in in our development. There was a murder in our development. There was another murder, and I understand that was a family situation, but the crime is going up. It says here that Schaumburg has a 113.8 compared to Hoffman, which has a 72.6. Streamwood has 97.6. So we are.
Just for clarification, they also don't have Woodfield Mall, and they don't have the population that we have and the extensive number of individuals in this community, and that includes all sorts of things like car thefts and you name it. So
Right.
there's a lot
Yeah,
of
well,
things in that
know
number.
Yeah, the list
so,
that I sent, it talked
yeah.
about murders, rapes,
Yeah.
robberies, violent crimes, et cetera, and how it compares to, we're not in the top 50 in the Illinois. Also, I had talked with Julie about, I looked online and I saw that there was three apartments that were up for rent, and I don't know what control the village has on that. They're with, two of them are with Airbnb, and one is with this VRBO, which I've never heard of, you know, but I think if we had some control working together, the associations and the village, that we put a stop to some of this, and maybe they're legitimate, I don't know. I didn't realize that in Schaumburg, people could rent their homes out for less than 30 days. Hopefully, I think in our association, I think it has to be for a year, the leases. They'll have to look into that. You know, I want to thank the trustee, Medov, you know, for saying that he understands where we're coming from. We have to have a 2/3 vote to change the rental, you know, to have a rental cap. You know, I know we have a gentleman here that, you know, are investors. If the village could work with, you know, I think the gentleman said he'd like, you know, it'd be nice if we could work together. Well, I think if the village would help us work together to come up with some kind of a number, you know, and I also mentioned in my letter about, you know, having hardship or grandfather clause. You know, I think that would help the situation. I don't know, Peru, I'll ask you, you know, would you be willing to have some sort of a cap higher than what we have now? So that we don't
I think
have
we can
so
take
many-
that offline. Let's
Okay.
stick with the conversation
Okay,
here with the board.
he's one of
so,
our board
yes,
members.
Right.
And,
It would seem to behoove even the investors to have some conversation with you, and certainly the village would be willing to sit as a moderator to come
Well-
to a number. The more rental units there, the more competition for them, and therefore, that's probably not what they're interested in either. So, you know, grandfathering and working in through the association with a number would certainly be in their best interest, so.
You know, and I also mentioned the cost of
yeah.
our homeowners insurance, the
Right.
association's insurance. You know, we weren't able to get bids. You know, one reason was because of the number of renters we have in our association. You know, the investors, they can raise the rents on their leases. We, as a homeowner, I'm retired, I'm, you know, senior. Well, there's many seniors living in our association. We don't have that flexibility to keep paying for these raises. If we want to sell our units, you know, if we get, FHA has a 50% cap, you know, where so, you know, we're not going to be able to get mortgages, sell our places, refinance, or get reverse mortgages. So those are issues that I think the village could help the homeowner associations in
Yes.
in Schaumburg. So I would hope that
Okay.
maybe you can help us with that.
Okay, thank you. Julie, can you just give us a quick address on what renters have to do in the village, on what process they have to go through, and if there's an Airbnb, what happens there?
We just, yeah. We did that, didn't we?
Pardon me?
Didn't we do something about Airbnb?
Yeah, we did, so
Yeah, we have a.
okay, just, thank you.
Yeah, so we, as you know, for many years, the village has had a pretty stringent, robust rental licensing program. If someone desires to rent their unit, they do have to get a rental license. If it is a single-family unit, they also have to now, for the past 3 years, go through an inspection, which is done by a building inspector for property maintenance and general life safety items. If it is a multifamily unit, that inspection is not done unless there is a complaint, and if there is a complaint, then they do go through the inspection process. Short-term rentals are also allowed. Short-term rentals have to pay, which we do have some that are licensed, and they're typically through Airbnb. VBRO is another popular site. They have to pay the hotel motel tax. They have to remit that to the village. And anyone who's renting out a unit in order to get a license has to go through the crime-free multifamily housing program.
Thank you.
I have a couple.
Questions for Julie? Yes.
Yeah, two questions. One, for single-family resident rentals, do you know how many we have currently?
I believe it is around 400, but that is just an estimate off the top of my head. I can get you an exact number later.
And do we have a limit in place?
We do not have a limit in place in terms of how many rental licenses will be issued.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Please, come forward, give us your name, what homeowner association, I think we've
Jim
you've been here before,
Ferrugia,
yes.
I'm the president of Hawthorne Estates, 212 units, and I spoke against this when it was, came up the first time. We, I think the staff spoke to 78 associations of various kinds in the village, and we basically have 2 or 3 associations of various kinds that are clearly dysfunctional, and they're asking you to do something that they couldn't get done within their association. There are methods for fixing this within the bylaws of the association. They shouldn't, if they can't get a majority on their own board and change the way the board operates, then they shouldn't really come to the village and say, we're a minority in our own association, but you have to fix this for us anyway. There are all sorts of unintended consequences. I've lived there for 19 years, and I was here for the crash. And there were units that were sold for $190,000, $200,000, that were sold after the crash for $43,000. The village certainly doesn't want to put kids, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about young people who come in, buy a unit for, pick a number, $125,000, $150,000, and then they move on. And right now, there are bunches and bunches in Schaumburg that are still underwater, and the enactment of what they're asking you to do would create a situation where people are going to start walking away from their units again. And the unintended consequences of that is we have a lot of renters who have children living with them. The school board has to plan for children of renters. If there are no more renters anymore, and they're all people my age or the lady's age, the school board is going to have seats empty and no income. That's just one of the unintended consequences for what they're asking you to do.
Okay.
So in any event, I'm asking you to leave it the way it is. It's working. Most of the associations work very well. We have a surplus. We're creditworthy. We have low crime.
Understood.
Okay.
Yeah, made the point.
Could you Put your name and sign my log.
Yes,
Art,
please sign
could
in.
you sign
Oh,
it?
sure. Anyone further? Yes, give them 1 second here to sign in. Thank you.
My name is Mark Geary. I'm now the president of the Town Place Association. We didn't come here asking them, to make sure you understand, we didn't ask you to create this rental cap. It was our interpretation through educated board members and our attorney that this was what was on the books. And that was our interpretation, and that's what we did. It was actually the investors that said, hey, can you change this, fix this? And there's clearly a lot of frustration and anger on both sides of the issue. It's not an issue that's going to go away. To me, it's a defining moment for this board. As you had indicated, it's that some of the associations will need help. This number's been thrown out there several times. It's 67% of the association just has to vote for the meeting and approve that as well. It will be virtually impossible to get that at 30%. Even if it's 40%, I don't anticipate that we'll be able to get enough people to do that. And what started the original discussion of a rental cap is during the crash the last time, we had an investor come in and said, hey, I'm looking for 10 of these units, and I would like to buy them. So if you know anybody that's interested, let me know. At the same time, we were nearing this 30%, which at that time was an FHA requirement that couldn't be over 30% in order to be FHA funded. So that was the reason we wanted to start the rental cap. You know, I get that you don't want to finance that, legislate that. We get that. We don't want to ask for that. But the reality is it is a problem. It is something that's not going away. If you do change the ordinance, so the way our attorney interpreted it, which I realize you said they shouldn't be practicing law, which I find very unprofessional in this case. It shouldn't, it added no value to
George.
the comment. So anyway.
What?
Nothing.
I wasn't gonna say a
Okay.
word.
But anyway, we've all stated our case. There's
Yes.
pros and cons. The energy has been
Okay, just
exhausting.
for clarification, the change to the ordinance is to clarify that that ordinance was for condominium conversions or apartment conversions, however you want to classify it, and not to put a cap in place. It really only affected 3 associations at the time. I was on the board. I know Trustee Dunham was on the board. Trustee Sullivan was on the board, and that's what we put in at the time. We did have a brief conversation about putting in a full 30% cap on everything, and we decided not to, that it was only for that purpose. We have, obviously, this ordinance is being misinterpreted, and we want to make sure that it's clear as to what the original intent of the ordinance was. So
And we
hence the
appreciate that.
change.
Yeah, we appreciate that. And
Okay.
we met with the attorney to try and
Yeah.
explain that, and
Okay.
so, I lost my train of thought, but it's really, again, the case has been made.
Okay.
There's really not
Yes.
much else to say, so.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Again, we're not doing a rehearing of, the past 9 months, so please step forward. Try and keep it brief.
Hello everyone, my name is Samir Sarode. I'm from Town Place, and I just wanted to highlight, it's been time and again, some people are trying to project it as homeowners versus investors. So I just wanted to say, I'm a homeowner, I live in Town Place, and I have a young family, I'm looking to raise my family, but I'm afraid if we put the rental cap, I will lose my financial flexibility just in case something happens. The owner I bought my condo, she was in the same case. She bought her unit at $245,000 in 2008. And 2016, she had to move out of the area, so she rented the unit. She had to, because like if she was to sell at the time, the property value was $211,000. You can go on Zillow and research it. If you want, I can email you that. But she would have lost like ton of money in that. She had that financial flexibility. She rented the unit out. When the market came back up again, I bought the unit at $245,000. So she didn't lose any money. And that's the reason like I'm not supporting the rental cap, because I'm afraid I will lose my financial flexibility if something
Understood.
happens. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am, please come forward.
I'm Dolores Leonard. I spoke last time, and I just want to say that our attorney was a condominium specialist. She was a condominium specialist for 20 years. She works for Lieberman. There is nothing wrong with her judgment. You are changing an ordinance that was set up for 23 years to a conversion, and that's all. And I want to know if anybody here read the Wall Street Journal's article about investors moving in on this country. They go on the internet and they buy property in the United States and they don't ever live here. And they take this property and turn it over to realtors. And these realtors are the ones that came up here and spoke. And I don't even know why you allowed them to talk, because they have nothing to do with the people that love this community and want to stay here and want to keep it a healthy community. And that's all I've got to say. I mean, if you want to let the community turn to a rental community, fine. Then I'm moving. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone further? Okay. So we have before us, do we need to deal with the item pulled, the recommendation?
So the recommendations, because this isn't a zoning matter, we don't really need to act on the recommendations, although for completeness sake, because they appear
Okay,
on the
fine.
agenda.
So you want to deal with item committee of the whole number 80?
Right, so that recommendation is to adopt the ordinance in 10I. 4A goes along.
All right, so hold on a second. So this item technically originally was not pulled off.
Originally.
Didn't need to be pulled off, but whatever.
Well, if it had been acted on, the board would have agreed with the recommendation to enact the ordinance. and
No,
pull
they
the
wouldn't have
ordinance.
agreed with the ordinance at the time, but that's fine. I understand where you're coming from. We only would have agreed to this item, but whatever. So you want us to have discussion on item, committee of the whole, item A, it's a recommendation to amend Chapter 98 of Municipal Code to clarify the applicability of the condominium ordinance.
Right, that 4A goes with.
I understand, but we're
10I.
dealing with this one first.
Well, there could be a motion, right, trustee Bishke's got the idea of where I'm going, is there could be a motion to accept the recommendation to approve an ordinance amending Chapter 98 to clarify that the 30% limit on rental units in residential developments only applies to condominium conversion properties for a period of 5 years, and to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 19-058, amending Title 9, Chapter 98, Section 5, and Title 9, Chapter 98, Section 18 of the Schaumburg Village Code with regard to condominiums. That could be one motion.
Okay, and then I'll look for concurrence on that as a
I
motion.
will make that motion.
Second?
So motion and a second on that item. Any further discussion? Please pull the board.
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Kozak.
6 ayes, no nays, motion carries.
And then although you don't need to do this, you've implicitly rejected the recommendation in 4B, but for completeness purposes, there
Yes.
could be a motion to reject the recommendation, or to accept the recommendation, rather, that the board not enact an ordinance to limit rentals, in other words, to do the opposite, just to accept that recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Well, please, clerk, please pull the board.
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Nay.
Trustee Trustee Madej is a nay. Trustee Conley, or, excuse me, Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
It's 5 ayes, 1 nay, motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll move on the agenda. Next item is comments from the audience that are pertinent towards the village of Schaumburg, beyond what we've already discussed. Please come forward. Okay, no items. Council report.
No report other than to say that at the close of our regular business today, I'll be asking for a motion to go into closed session under the Open Meetings Act. And I will be asking that we reassemble after that meeting because the board may pass a resolution involving the settlement of a piece of pending litigation.
Okay, thank you. That's all?
That's all I have.
Okay, President's report. I have no items for this evening. Manager's report.
I do have something this evening. I'd like to recognize and congratulate Mike Hall on his recent appointment to the position of Director of Engineering and Public Works, effective yesterday. As you know, Mike has over 5 years of experience with the village, 4 of which he was the Assistant Director, 1 this past year as the Interim Director. He also has 11 years of experience with the village of Elgin. He also has a PE, or Professional Engineer certification, and possesses a bachelor's degree and a master's degree from Southern Illinois in civil engineering. We look forward to Mike's progress in the coming years and taking the department forward, so I hope that you all join us in congratulating him and wish you well.
Thank you. Anything further?
No.
Okay. Next item is new business. Any new business to come before the board? Unfinished business. Nothing on unfinished business. Trustee comments and mentions. Anyone for the order? Nope. All right. We look for a motion to adjourn to executive session.
So moved.
Well, let me state the reason. We need to include the reason in the motion. So
Okay.
let me just set it up.
Please
So
do.
the motion would be to go into closed session under Section 2C11 of the Open Meetings Act to discuss pending litigation.
Okay. Trustee Dunham has made that motion. Second
I
was
second
Trustee Madej, second that motion. Further discussion? All those in favor?
We do
No?
need a-
Oh, we need
we need a
sorry.
roll call on that.
Need a
Coming
roll
out,
call.
we can do a voice vote.
Okay. So will the clerk please call the roll on this?
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
Trustee Madej.
Aye.
Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan.
Aye.
Trustee Conley.
Aye.
Trustee Kozak.
6 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Thank you for that. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. We will call reconvene the village board meeting for Tuesday, June 25th from executive session. Please call the roll.
Trustee Bischke?
Present.
Trustee Madey?
Present.
Trustee Dunham?
Present.
Trustee Sullivan?
Present.
Trustee Conley?
Present.
Trustee Kozak? President Daley?
Present. All accounted for.
Okay, we have one item that requires board action, having reconvened after a closed session discussion pending litigation. It would be appropriate to adopt as resolution number R 19-037, approving and ratifying a settlement with Jones C. Michaels versus the Village of Schaumburg, case number 2017 L 534.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? We have, will the clerk please pull the board, please? Thank you.
Trustee Bischke?
Aye.
Trustee Madey?
Aye.
Trustee Dunham?
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan?
Aye.
Trustee Conley?
Aye.
Trustee Kozak?
6 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Anything further?
Need nothing further,
No.
Mayor.
Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. Anything further? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.